The Senate will come to order. If the senators will take their seats, business is about to resume. What's the next one up? Secretary will read House Bill 18.
House Bill 18 by Representative Spencer, the 180th, and others, a bill to be entitled, an act to amend Chapter 15 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to professional engineers and land surveyors, so as to exempt defense, aviation, space, or aerospace companies and those who work for them, and all who provide engineering for certain products or services from complying with provisions of said chapter, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
The chair recognizes the senator from the 56th district for the purpose of presenting the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a fairly simple bill. It merely exempts those who fall under the current Professional Engineer and Land Surveyors Act to exclude those who work in the aviation, aerospace, and defense industry. Those certifications don't necessarily apply. This will help us in growing our space industry as well as hopefully more defense contract work. If there are no questions, I will yield the will.
There are no questions, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears no objection. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall the main question now be put? Are there any objections? The chair hears no objections, and the main question is ordered.
This bill?
We're working on that. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed. Is there an objection?
I asked unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 32nd.
The senator from the 32nd is excused.
32nd, thank you.
Senator from the 13th district is recognized.
Unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 54th.
Senator from the 54th district is excused. Senator from the 28th is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the great senator from the 29th.
Senator from the 29th is excused. Senator from the 16th is recognized.
Sir, thank you. We'll ask to have the senator from the 18th excused, please, sir.
Senator from the 18th is excused but has arrived. Is no longer excused. Senator from the 40th is recognized.
Yes, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to have the senator from the 37th excused.
The senator from the 37th district is excused. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the passage. Senator from the 34th district is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pro Tem, I move for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 44th, 39th, 55th, and 38th.
Those four senators are excused. Does the senator from the 42nd still need recognized? Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The secretary will unlock the machine. The TV is not on in the hall. Can the secretary look into turning the TV on in the hall? On the passage of the bill, the ayes are 33, the noes are 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read House Bill 62.
House Bill 62 by Representative Tanner of the 9th, a bill to be entitled, an act to amend Code Section 20-2-2114 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to qualifications for the scholarship program for special needs students, so as to waive certain qualifications for students whose parent is an active duty military service member stationed in Georgia within the previous year, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Education and Youth recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
The senator from the 49th District is recognized for the purpose of presenting the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I rise to bring to you House Bill 62. This is a piece of legislation that's brought to me by one of my local colleges. It provides for the opportunity for students who are children of military personnel that be transferred in and out of the state to take advantage of special eligibility waivers. Lines 11 through 15, current law specifies that there is a 1-year period that the student must be a resident of Georgia. This waives that eligibility. Lines 17 through 27 detail the special needs that these children would be, or young adults would be eligible for. Lines 29 to 31 provides for the 1-year residency of the Georgia public school requirement that be children of active duty military. And lines 32 provides that this, all of them would have an IEP, an individual education plan. And lines 36 to 40 reflect the addition to the new paragraph. It's a real simple bill. It's good government. It's good for our students. If there are no questions, I'll yield the well.
There are no questions.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears no objection. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall the main question now be put? Are there any objections? The chair hears no objection, and the main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the ayes are 35, the noes are 8. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read House Bill 86.
House Bill 86 by Representative Benton of the 31st and others, a bill to be entitled, an act to amend Chapter 6 of Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to services for the aging, so as to provide for the transfer of the Division of Aging Services to the Georgia Adult and Aging Services Agency, to provide for definitions, to provide for the Georgia Adult and Aging Services Board, to provide for membership powers and duties, to provide for an executive director, to provide for a transfer of rights and duties and obligations, to amend various provisions of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated so as to make conforming changes, to provide for legislative findings, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
The senator from the 45th District is recognized for the purpose of presenting the bill.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. House Bill 86 is a substitute bill that transfers the Division of Aging Services from the Department of Human Services to the Department of Community Health and renames the Georgia Adult Aging and Services Agency. The purpose of this bill, it repositions aging services for better responsiveness to the needs of seniors, our fastest growing population. It's attached to the Department of Community Health, aligned with Medicaid waivers and long-term care facility regulation. This allows the Department of Human Services to focus completely on children. This is a revenue neutral bill, and this is a bill that we have worked on probably for the past 5 years, and I'm very grateful to see it coming to fruition, and I hope that you will support House Bill 86, and I'll yield for any questions. I yield the will. Thank you.
There are no questions. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears no objection. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall the main question now be put? Are there any objections? The chair hears no objection, and the main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. The secretary will unlock the machine. Senator.
Mr. President, I request unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 49th.
The senator is excused. If there's time, it's too late for that, I'm sorry, but we will note in the journal that an attempt was made to excuse him. Did you excuse him? On the passage of the bill, the ayes are 45, the noes are 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Senator from the 50th District is recognized.
Mr. President, I request unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 49th.
Senator from the 49th District is excused. Secretary will read House Bill 198.
House Bill 198 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 16 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to student health in elementary and secondary education, so as to require annual suicide prevention education training for certified school system personnel, to provide for no cause of action is created, to provide that no duty of care is created, to provide a short title, to provide for legislative findings, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Senator from the 45th District is recognized for the purpose of presenting the bill.
Thank you, members of the Senate. It's my honor to be able to bring forth House Bill 198 from the representative from Rome, Georgia. And this bill concerns suicide prevention. Every 12.8 minutes, someone completes suicide, and every 31 seconds, someone attempts suicide. In 2013, there were 1,204 Georgians died by suicide, and over 6,000 made an attempt serious enough to require emergency room treatment. In the last 40 years, the rate of youth suicide, which this bill addresses, has more than tripled. More teenagers and young adults die from suicide than from cancer, heart disease, AIDS, birth defects, stroke, pneumonia, influenza, and chronic lung disease combined. This bill attempts to require that education, prevention, and suicide is performed as a training at the beginning of the school year for certified school systems. It has no monetary impact on the local school system. We have been working with the Jason Flatt Foundation, which has gotten approved in 13 states already, an exemplary program that teaches suicide prevention. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
There are no questions. Senator from the 42nd wants to speak to the bill. There are no questions.
I yield the will. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your favorable consideration.
Senator from the 42nd District is recognized for the purpose of speaking to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this bill as someone who has several very, very close friends whose lives have been forever impacted by losing a parent to suicide. Two of my very best friends lost their fathers that way, and that really drove home an awareness to me of the problem and what we can do as a society to ensure that fewer people are impacted by such a tragic event. Now, of course, this bill, I think we're all, of course, in agreement that we would like to prevent suicide. This bill, I think, even is one that we can feel even better about, as it's focused on suicide of our young citizens whose brains have not even been fully formed. They haven't had the chance to grow up and become all that they can be. And we know that for children whose brains haven't fully formed, their thoughts are more rash. They're more likely to be given to impulsive decisions. And research shows that 4 out of 5 kids that commit suicide will have exhibited warning signs. And that's what this legislation aims to address. Right now, suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death for young people ages 10 to 24 in Georgia. For kids 12 to 18, the middle and high school years, it's the 2nd leading cause of death. 14.3% of youth in Georgia have reported seriously considering suicide in the past 12 months, and 8.8% answered yes when they were asked if they had attempted suicide in the past 12 months. Colleagues, that impacts over 64,000 youth in our state in the next year alone. So I'm really commending the Representative Dempsey, Senator from the 45th, and bringing this issue to us. I hope that we will all give our assent and full support behind something that really is a grievous problem and impacts some of our most vulnerable children. Mr. President, if there are no questions, I will yield the will.
There are no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears no objection. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall the main question now be put? Are there any objections? The chair hears no objection, and the main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. The secretary will unlock the machine.
On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 45 and the nays are 1. This bill, MC records constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Secretary will read House Bill 320.
House Bill 320 by Representative Williams of the 119th and others, a bill to be entitled, an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 3 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to scholarships, loans, and grants, so as to provide that public disclosure of certain records held by the Georgia Student Finance Commission, the Georgia Higher Education Assistance Corporation, and the Georgia Student Finance Authority is not required to provide without judicial action for the garnishment of pay, loss of professional license, offset of lottery winnings, or offset of state tax refunds for amounts owed to the Georgia Student Finance Commission and the Georgia State Student Finance Authority, to provide for definitions, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Higher Education recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Senator from the 30th, what purpose you rise?
Mr. President, I'd ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 5th.
The 5th, without objection, senator from the 5th will be excused. Chair recognizes the senator from the 47th to present the bill.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If we get any more E's up there, I'm worried about our vote. Got a good government bill. It's actually a department bill. It's one that passed over in the House 160 to nothing. The purpose of this bill is to do two things. To protect the identity of those that have taken a loan or any kind of financial information that we'd have from students that are participating with the Georgia Student Finance Commission. The second part of the bill is those that have taken a loan, to make sure that we're entrusting the public to recover those funds, so that we can do that through whether it be a garnishment or with a limited court action. I'll ask for your favorable consideration on the bill. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to take them. Otherwise, I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Senator 53rd for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
Yes,
does this have anything to do with CUVA?
Not today.
Are you sure? Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions, Mr. President?
One more question. Chair recognizes Senator from the 31st for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
Yes, sir.
When you referred to this being a good government bill, were you referring to the size of government or the quality of government?
This is an efficient government bill. Government's only there to serve the public.
Senator from the 41st, what purpose you rise? Or, I'm sorry, you're recognized for a question.
Is it not true that by passing this bill, it will make it very difficult to see what schools the money's going to and where people are coming from who are going to the schools? Make it very hard to research how both diverse and location in the state, people who are awarded these scholarships are, will it not?
In actuality, this does only protect the individual's information. It's not information in general. But when we start to redacting Social Security numbers, dates of birth, mother's maiden names, this is not to redact any information from the type of information that you're wanting to look at. Like the information on your phone that I saw not long ago.
Senator, further yield?
Well, I didn't start to yield in the first place, but if you ask, I will.
Is it not true on line 1718, it talks about records that include information identifying a student or former student by name, which, I can understand, address I can understand, but also by school. Isn't it important that we know the schools that are involved so it helps us get a better picture of how the program is spread out and affected across the state?
In actuality, that's an individual and what school an individual is attending. When we look for it, said the number of students that are attending what schools, that's not a concern. But as far as an individual, what school they're actually attending, I think is a personal piece of information that might be used by the savvy folks to take advantage of some younger citizens in our state. At this time, I'll yield the well.
Senator from the 41st, are you wishing to take the well, or is your... We have an amendment. Okay, Chair, we have two amendments. Read the amendments.
Mr. President, Senator Henson of the 41st offers the First Amendment to amend HB 320 by replacing lines 18, 42, and 56 with the following: address except for zip code, telephone number, or emergency contact, and. Mr. President, Senator Jones of the 22nd offers the Second Amendment to amend HB 320 by replacing lines 5 through 8 with the following: provided for related matters to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes, by replacing two new subsections with a new subsection on lines 14 and 52, by inserting a quotation mark at the end of line 24 and deleting lines 25 through 34, by inserting a quotation mark at the end of line 62 and deleting lines 63 through 72. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 41st to explain his amendment.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, this is an important and simple amendment that will allow us to get just the zip codes of where people are going to various schools. It's very important, especially for each of us, to know in our areas how many people are participating in this program. Before, when we had debates on Hope Scholarship years ago, we were able to show members of this body how many people got Hope Scholarships, how many people in your district got Hope Scholarships. This will have no information that will endanger or trouble or bother or be objectionable to a student. It's merely their zip code, so we can gain information of where people are coming from and whether or not they're going to the best research schools in the state. I urge your adoption of Amendment 1. Again, it leaves most of the redacted information in place. Certainly their phone numbers are not needed, their emergency contact is not needed, but to know where Georgians are coming from who get the Hope Scholarship is an important thing, especially if you're a rural Georgian. You really want to see that it's fair and equitable to you. But that actually goes to all of us. I'll yield if there's any questions, Mr. President.
There are no questions, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from the 10th. Is it right? Or, oh, the 22nd, I'm sorry. Senator from the 22nd is recognized. My apologies.
No problem, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. This is an amendment basically dealing with the fact that within this bill there's a possibility that a person could lose their professional license, and also they would be required to make loan repayments without judicial action. And specifically what I'm looking at is lines 64 through 66 on this page 3, where a person could actually lose their professional license if they still owed money under this particular bill. And basically what we're saying is, with such a very difficult proposition that a person can actually lose a professional license, whether that is a law license or otherwise, that there should be judicial action to make sure that that loss is being done properly. And that is basically what this amendment is primarily seeking to do. And certainly, of course, also if there's any loan money that have to be paid back. But the key thing to this amendment is the loss of professional license without judicial action. And no further questions, Mr. President, I'll yield the well.
You do have a question. Chair recognizes Senator from 36.
Thank you. Does Senator yield?
Yes, ma'am.
I know your remarks were very brief in the well about the Amendment 2, but essentially you're telling us that there could be a real lack of due process if this language in the bill stays as it is, and someone could be threatened with loss of a professional license without judicial action?
That's correct. That the possibility exists without any judicial action, a person who has tried to get a professional license in the state of Georgia could possibly lose that if it's determined that they owed any particular monies to the authority.
And that's not, it could be $10? And
Well,
your
correct.
professional license is at stake?
There's no particular monetary limitation on it, and the key thing is such a draconian type of punishment should at least have judicial action, and that's what we're going for.
I could not agree with you more. Is it not true?
I would say that the senator is correct.
Thank you.
There's no further questions, Mr. President. I yield
This
well.
would be an abuse of power, would it not?
All right, no further questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator from the 47th, you wish to close the debate, or you're welcome to do so. You are recognized to do just that.
A little simple housekeeping bill, but I'm glad that we take the time to perfect them. I'm pleased to see that my colleagues in the Senate have made 2 amendments. I don't have a problem with either of the 2 amendments, so I'll suggest that we go ahead and adopt those. And move the bill back to the House so they can agree to it. Thank you. I yield the well.
All right, stay with me for a moment. Amendment 1, is there objection to Amendment 1? There is no objection to Amendment 1. Is there objection to Amendment 2, authored by the Senator from 22nd? A lot of chatter in the audience, no objection. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is the objection agreed in the Report of Committee which favor pass the bill? Chair is none. Report of Committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Is there any objections? Chair is none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass as amended? Questions on the passage of the bill as amended. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Second. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47, the nays are 1. This bill, MC Rex constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Secretary will read House Bill 348.
House Bill 348 by Representative Dickey at the 140th and others, a bill to be entitled, an act to repeal Chapter 14 of Title 34 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia Workforce Investment Board, to amend Chapter 7 of Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Department of Economic Development so as to create the State Workforce Development Board, to provide for a workforce division within the Department of Economic Development, to provide for a deputy commissioner, to provide for policy development and implementation, to revise provisions for the administration and dispersal of funds, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, Senate Committee on Insurance and Labor recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Yeah, absolutely. Chair recognizes the senator from the 30th, distinguished gentleman from Carrollton, present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow members, it's really a cleanup bill. All it's doing is, this is a simple bill that we're going to talk about for about an hour and 15 minutes now. Okay. All it's doing is moving the Division of Workforce Development from the Department of Labor to the Georgia Department of Economic Development, who's doing the work already and has been for a long time. Subject to your questions.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 41st.
Senator Yield. Senator,
Yes.
is it not true that the federal government actually has legislation which asks the state to have a workforce development board, or make sure I get the term right since it's changing, workforce development board? So we're really kind of falling in line with federal government?
That's exactly why we're doing this. And I'm sure the senator from the 41st was trying to help me out with that, but I'm not sure that you did. Thank you.
No further questions, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Agree and report to committee which fail will pass the bill. Chair is none. Report to committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chair is none and the main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Question on the pass the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 1. And this bill, MC Rex Constitutional Majority, is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 40th.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to remove SB 208 from the table.
208, read the caption.
Senate Bill 208 by Senator Ramsey of the 43rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to incorporate the city of Stonecrest into DeKalb County, to provide for a charter for the city of Stonecrest, to provide for incorporation boundaries and powers of the city, to provide for servability, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations recommends this bill do pass. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Is there objection? Without objection, the bill will be removed from the table. Secretary will read Senate Bill 208.
Senate Bill 208 by Senator Ramsey of the 43rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to incorporate the city of Stonecrest into DeKalb County, to provide for a charter for the city of Stonecrest, to provide for incorporation boundaries and for other purposes. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 43rd to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This is Senate Bill 208 for the city of Stonecrest, Georgia, where I live. And this was on the consent calendar earlier in the week and was tabled and is now off the table. And I would appreciate your favorable consideration of this bill. Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Agree and report to committee which favor will pass the bill. Chair is none. Report to committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chair is none and the main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Questions on pass the bill. All of those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 45 and the nays are 1. And this bill, item C, Rex constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd.
I move that Senate Bill 208 be immediately transmitted to the House of Representatives.
The senator is moving for immediate transmittal to the House. I don't know if it's going to do you any good because the House has been gone for a long, long time today. We can run over there. We can run it over there, but you know, without objection, the Senate will immediately transmit this bill to a House that is adjourned. Chair recognizes Senator from the 51st.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate insist on its substitute to House Bill 170.
Insisting, Senator's moving to insist. Senator from the 31st, what purpose you rise?
Mr. President, I move pursuant to Rule 2-8.2 that all Senate conferees appointed to any conference committee on House Bill 170 be instructed to agree to a conference committee report only if such conference committee report recommended includes an amendment to paragraph 33.1 of Code Section 48-8-3 of the OCGA, which is identical to the amendment that was made in lines 293 through 338 of House Bill 170 as it passed the Senate, House Bill 170/SCFSA/2. That's the delta. That's the aviation fuel tax credit. Make sure it's in the conference.
This motion because they can proceed still. Okay. For that, I just once you appoint conferees, you shut the door over there. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah, but time to do that. Okay. I'll make sure. So you want me to withdraw my motion? What is the name? I heard you call some numbers, but I want to know the name. No. So let me just make sure everyone, if I could have the Senate's attention for just a moment. The Senator's motion is actually out of order, and it's out of order because this is an insist motion, not a to appoint a conference committee. That's when the Senator could. So if the House insists and obviously appoints a conference committee, and it comes to us for the same motion, then at that time is when that motion would be in order. It's not in order upon an insist. Chair recognizes Senator from 31st.
I agree with the president. I just we're not going to appoint conferees today. Then
no. The House is out. They've been out for hours. You know.
sometimes they do some strange things like leave instructions, should this happen, then do so-and-so.
Right.
But
No,
if we're going to go
we'll-
home, I will
You can
withdraw my motion.
Your motion would be in order at an appropriate time when it comes back. Senator from 26, what purpose you rise? No. Okay. Is there objection to the Senate to the senators from the 51st motion to move that the Senate insist on its substitute to House Bill 170? Without objection, the Senate has insisted on its substitute to House Bill 170. Chair recognizes the distinguished majority leader, the senator from the 46th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Wednesday, March 25th.
The senator has read the announcements.
The 2:30 p.m. Rules Committee meeting will be held upon adjournment in room 450 of the Capitol. The 3 p.m. Health and Human Services Committee meeting will be held in room 450 of the Capitol. The 4 p.m. Urban Affairs Committee meeting will be held in room 328 of CLOB. The 4 p.m. Banking and Financial Institutions Committee meeting will be held in room 307 of CLOB. The 5 p.m. Higher Education Committee meeting will be held in room 310 of CLOB. The 5 p.m. Legislative Oversight Committee meeting will be held in room 307 of CLOB. The 5 p.m. Natural Resources and Environment Committee meeting will be held in room 450 of the Capitol. The 5 p.m. Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security Committee meeting will be held in room 125 of the Capitol. The 6 p.m. Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting will be held in the Capitol Mezzanine Room 1. The 6 p.m. Judiciary Committee meeting will be held in room 307 of CLOB. The 7 p.m. Judiciary Subcommittee will meet upon adjournment of the full Judiciary Committee meeting in room 307 of CLOB. And the 7 p.m. Finance Committee meeting will be held in the Capitol Mezzanine Room 1. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 32nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that members of the Senate Finance Committee stay tuned. We'll get a message out to you, but I expect that we will be canceling that late night meeting.
Okay. Very good. Get with your chairman. Get with you. Members of finance, please get in touch with your chairman. Communicate with your chairman. All members should be communicating with their chairman. For the forum in science and technology, will be meeting at 3. It says it's canceled. It is not canceled. They will be meeting at 3 o'clock in what room? 310 CLOB. 310 CLOB. Science Technology Committee members, get with your chairman on the meeting. Now, the majority leader has moved that, Chair recognizes Senator 26. What purpose you rise?
Mr. President.
Yes.
Am I looking at that right? 6 p.m. Economic Development?
Get with your chairman. He's right behind you. If it's 6 p.m., it's 6 p.m. Is it 6 p.m.?
I just trying to make sure you had a quorum.
No, I understand. I mean, the Senate is doing its business way into the hours while, others are, probably no tough. Chair recognizes Senator 54th. 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President. By way of announcement, the Appropriations Subcommittee considering HB 279 will meet upon adjournment of rules in the Little Mez, and I believe Appropriations, the full committee, meets tomorrow morning at 8:15. Just a reminder, I know the chairman would...
Tomorrow morning, that's right. Appropriations tomorrow morning. A lot of work to be done. Please, let's do our part. The majority leaders move. We stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, March the 25th, 2015. All of those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes clearly have it. We stand adjourned.